Hi gang, we're going to work on 2H. So I'm just going to write this two ways because some people aren't really clear on the secant function, but they're okay on the reciprocal. The reciprocal of secant is cosine. So you want to go to pi over 2 from the left. Now it just depends how your brain works. Some people's brains will sort of think about, okay, what does this graph look like? Some people's brains will go there. And on and on. This is the one where it's the repeating floating parabolas. Let me just do the pi over 2, which is right here. Now, to the left of pi over 2 means that you're smaller than pi over 2. So you're coming in from the left. You're coming in this way. So as I come in to pi over 2, it becomes unbounded, right? So it becomes positive infinity as I come in from the left side of 2. So some ways you could have figured that out. If you actually plug in pi over 2, it's 1 over 0. And we know that a number over 0 is a vertical asymptote. Okay, so you probably had a sense that you were hitting a vertical asymptote when you got a number over 0. So graphically, you can see it here. You're shooting up to positive infinity. Another way some people's brains work is, so this is more on a linear graph, a left-right graph. Some people are more on a rotational graph. If you're on a rotational graph where you're rotating, less than pi over 2 means you're going to be in quadrant 1. And the cosine in quadrant 1 is positive, right? The cosine in quadrant 1 is positive. Cosine is like an x. Cosine is positive in quadrant 1 and 4, and it's negative in 2 and 3. It's positive on the right, it's negative on the left. So the other way you could have thought about it, well, if I'm a little less than pi over 2, if I'm in on a rotational axis in quadrant 1, then I have to be positive. Okay, so that was the other way you could have figured it out. I would suggest for this one, you start by recognizing that if you write it as a cosine, it's 1 over 0, and you know you have a vertical asymptote. Since you're one-sided on a vertical asymptote, if you're one-sided on a vertical asymptote, there's only two potential answers. You're either going to positive infinity or you're going to negative infinity. There's no other answers when you're hitting a vertical asymptote. Okay, so I would start there noticing that you're hitting a vertical asymptote, and then I would try to figure out, well, is it positive or negative? And that's why I'm drawing these additional graphs for you to sort of think about that. Like, so if you're on, again, if you're on like a linear framework, you're thinking about the secant function this way. If you're on a rotational axis, you're thinking about it in terms of quadrants. And in quadrant 1, which would be, quadrant 1 is the quadrant where you're less than pi over 2, the cosine's positive. Okay, gang, I hope that helped. I'll catch you in another video. Bye-bye.